It feels like good but weird to be sitting back in this position. Like I kind of feel like it's gonna take me a minute to like remember like what to do or how to act. Guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, and today I am so excited to talk about one of my favorite cryptozoology characters. A lot of people always say, you know, Krystal, are you into crypto? Like, what kind of characters do you like? Do you believe in aliens? And you know, we've had our alien chats here and there, but I thought it would be a good time to finally talk about my probably ultimate top favorite crypto character, which is the Mothman. So who exactly is the Mothman, and why did I choose now to talk about him, right? So actually I wanted to talk about him a few weeks ago because the first reported sight of the Mothman was actually in November of 1966. We missed that deadline, obviously, because we've been trying to get revamped, right? We're revamping the channel and getting the whole team on board with helping. So here we are. I didn't want to leave him out. I thought about forgetting about it till next year, and I was like, no, let's do a fun little video on it and kind of talk about my theories behind what and who I think the Mothman is. So why is he called the Mothman? He's described as a 7-foot, possibly taller male persona with bright red eyes, giant wings, who gives out some sort of a threatening, I guess, attitude or persona when you encounter him. And he's also known to have these really like high-pitched screaming sort of shrieks that he will give out. A lot of people have said that he's possibly like black in color. Other people say he might be gray. Some people say he's sort of a mixture. But all in all, it has been concluded that it's giant wings with some sort of, you know, the shape of the moth, right? Which is where he got his name, the Mothman. So this is interesting. November 15th of 1966. There were two young couples that were from Point Pleasant, which is in West Virginia, okay? And these people all reported the same sighting. They went and reported immediately after. They were traveling late at night in a car, and they were passing this like abandoned World War II factory that's outside of Point Pleasant. Noticed two red glowing sort of images that were red, right? Like out floating behind the gates of this like abandoned building. When they stopped the car to kind of see what it was, they realized that it was actually like the eyes of some sort of an animal, and they didn't know what kind of animal it was. They didn't really know what they were encountering because it was so dark out, right? When they started to sort of suspect what they were seeing, they realized it wasn't just an animal. It looked like some sort of a being, possibly a really, really tall man who had these large, deep-set, dark, glowing red eyes. They claimed they had seen the wingspan and that they had actually seen the wings fold back behind its back. They claim when they drove off to like speed away, to get away from the creature, that they were going about 100 miles per hour and the creature was keeping up with them in the car. The next sighting was in January of 1967, and they saw the Mothman sitting and hovering above this bridge that actually collapsed in Point Pleasant. So between these two stories, we can kind of get two sides, right? On one side, you could say Mothman is a scary cryptozoology creature that is possibly trying to harm people. And was Mothman trying to warn people about, you know, what is happening or what's going to happen as the bridge is going to collapse? Was he trying to warn people by, you know, allowing himself to be visible in the public eye? Now it's interesting because there's been hundreds of eyewitness accounts, right, through like the United States technically, but generally speaking around Point Pleasant and West Virginia. Sometimes they claim they will see Mothman who appears to actually not have a head, and his eyes are deep set somewhere like in his chest. Does that mean he kind of turtles, you know, like, or do bugs do that? I don't know. I'm not like somebody that studies in zoology, you know what I mean? But they claim that sometimes his head will rise up and it'll rise back down. So I don't know. It's an interesting theory, right? It kind of makes you think and it makes you wonder. So after the first sighting that was in November, of course the town became afraid because they had these 4 people that were like eyewitness accounts to what had happened, and a bunch of people basically went out to try to hunt down Mothman. They were completely armed and could never find him. But throughout the rest of November, more and more claims started coming up with people actually seeing what they saw was a man-sized figure with wings flying in the air. So once again, we can kind of be devil's advocate. On one side, was there like a ton of sightings all at once in West Virginia when this was happening? Or did a couple of people happen to see this creature and then all these other people started to run with it and try to get kind of, you know, notoriety just by saying they actually saw the creature as well? Mothman was actually sighted April 26th of 1986 in the Soviet Union after the nuclear disaster in Chernobyl. And basically it was, they had like a nuclear plant exploded, killed a bunch of people, the entire city had to evacuate. It still remains evacuated today and empty, basically. Like, people literally walked out and left everything. They're actually in the process of rescuing a bunch of dogs that had been left behind. People were afraid to bring them out because they were afraid they may have some sort of, like, you know, obviously exposure to it. But they're going to be putting those animals into an area with a rescue that will be able to take them and care for them properly. Side note, I'm happy because, you know, I love animals and I don't like that they've been abandoned since the 80s. But anyway, there was actually there was a crypto character that people claimed they had been seeing. The workers and residents who claimed they saw this thing flying in the air, and they had said that it matched the same images or, you know, description that Mothman and who he was. So this was prior to the explosion when Mothman was seen, obviously in a whole nother continent, a whole nother country. The question is, now we're kind of 2 in 1, right? We did have the 4 people that claimed that Mothman was chasing them, but now we have another sighting where Mothman was seen, sort of warning the town of what was about to come, which was the explosion. Another thing that I found online, I've seen pictures of this before. Some people say it's a hoax. Some people say that it was relative, which was they claimed they found or saw Mothman sitting on the side of the World Trade Center in like still images. They also saw him flying around. This was like either before the first crash happened or after the first crash happened. And they thought it was some sort of like a warning to the people of what was happening. Once again, he's sighted before these massive disasters actually take place. Some people that were actually on the ground during 9/11 as it was happening claims that they had seen Mothman flying around through the like smoke clouds and debris. Tons of them said that they would see his wings and they would see his face because the eyes were glowing. So I just find it interesting. I know some people say it's a hoax. There's a lot of forums out there that are the people that say they claim that they had seen it. I find it interesting because at the time 9/11 took place, you know, the internet wasn't as prominent as it is now. So just throwing that out there, you know, they didn't have, even then, you didn't have the best editing software like we have today, you know, to create fake images and, you know, create things like, you know, After Effects. Like Adobe After Effects is really awesome, and even like really great Photoshop's like great Photoshop apps like we have today. So one of the newer ones as well that I had found was apparently there was another bridge collapse August 1st of 2007 near Minneapolis, Minnesota. 13 people died, 145 were injured because of the falls. And apparently a month before the actual collapse of the bridge, people started reporting sights of seeing Mothman. So once again, very interesting. 2009, April 10th, residents in La Junta, Mexican state of Chihuahua, began noticing that there was a creature with wings. And apparently this is right before they had like a massive swine flu outbreak, which is weird. So this is kind of something not physical. It's more like health related. So I found that interesting. Point Pleasant has literally dedicated their life and everything around it to Mothman. They have a yearly festival that they hold in September. I'm really hoping that eventually we can get out there and film it and be a part of it. They have a huge museum that's fully dedicated to memorabilia of Mothman. It's been featured on several television episodes, which you guys know, even Paranormal State with Ryan Buell they went down to where they believe Mothman might live, which is like an abandoned sort of camp that was used for past military training purposes. A lot of people are not allowed in there because there could still possibly be mines that go off or things that may detonate. It's just not safe. Some of the buildings are actually collapsing. So I think that if you go there, you're actually trespassing, so don't do it. But it's just an interesting theory. This is one crypto character that I would be interested in hunting, I guess you'd say. But you say hunting like kill. I'm not going to be killing any crypto characters. But absolutely just going to try to find like actual evidence. This would be something that I think would be so fun. So who knows, in the future, maybe it's what Ghost Girl Diaries will do. What's my real opinion on Mothman? I don't know. I'm at a point in my life where I've seen so many things with paranormal that I think anything could exist at this point. But I have to lean on the side where he may be actually warning people. You know, unfortunately, all of these crypto characters that we know of, like Bigfoot eating people and tearing people apart, and Loch Ness Monster, or the Kraken is like eating full ships, you know, down into the ocean. But why couldn't we have a crypto character that exists that isn't all about the bad? Maybe it is about the good, and maybe he is there for sightings, for warnings for people. I don't know. I just like to think that, but who knows? That's just my opinion. Please make sure you give our video a thumbs up. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Make sure you're following all of us on social media. You can find links for all of Ghost Girl Diaries crew below. Make sure your subscription notifications are on. And as always, I will catch you guys next time. Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. Okay, bye.